Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Tej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Tej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. You don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of T Channel get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because T Channel is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today.
What's going on, family? Welcome to King Talk. We're going to introduce the crew. We got Trigger Mike. We got Louise, B. Madden, Shannon Walls, Humble Dad, me, myself, on Lapeef JR. Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas?
Good evening. Good evening.
Man, it's
What up?
Tuesday already, man. I feel like the week is flying by quickly. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. Next thing you know, we look up, it'll be Saturday. You guys have any special plans this past weekend? Was it a ball? B-Man, you was out of town,
right? No, I actually was in town for a little bit. I went to the Final Four national championship game. So I was pretty lit. Saw UConn take the title. And then also, and then just out and about. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else don't have anything? I didn't do no Final Four. I think Eric said he went to the Final Four too. He's supposed to be on here tonight, but he said he got some tickets last minute to the Final Four. So it's like it was in Houston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was bloody. The men's was, and of course the women's was up in Dallas.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it's good to see you, gentlemen. Let me see who we got in the chat. Shout out to all my green gang in the chat. Mrs. Parker, Cassandra B, Shamar Lawrence. Luis is in the chat. Salute to you, sir. Dale Matthew, if you want to become part of Green Gang, click that link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get this show started. Our first topic of the night is, can you protect my daughter? Can you protect my daughter? I'm going to go ahead and play this clip.
The protector first. So number one, it's not so much about the gun. I need to know if you can make good decisions. How are you at making good decisions when gets a little rough? You know, when you're out with my daughter and another dude's talking a little bit of he might be a couple inches taller than you. Are you good with just removing my daughter from the situation, right? And getting in the car and getting the on? Or are you going to sit there and try to measure what you finna do? Can you make good decisions? I don't care if you own a gun or not. Can you make good choices? Are you going to keep her safe? What's your situational awareness like? Opening the door. Are your eyes open or are you on your phone? That's what I want to know. Are you capable of protecting my daughter?
All right, so I know some of the men on the panel have who all had daughter on the panel? I know Humble Dad do, Be Mad, Trigger Mike.
Yep, for sure.
Louise, you ain't got no kids?
Not yet.
Yeah. Man, must be nice. Must be nice. I don't even know what that even feel like. It's been so long. And Shane, you don't have no girls, right? You got boys? Got boys. Are you done, Shane? You don't know.
I have more kids. I if I meet a woman that desperately really wants to have more children, I don't mind extending my legacy. I can afford it. So it's up to whoever I meet.
Okay. I think this is an important conversation, especially for the men that have daughters. Can you protect my daughter? I just played the clip. It gave a little context. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. I'm going to go ahead and start with you first, Humble Dad. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's important for, first of all, men to be involved in their daughters' lives, obviously. And that conversation should be had as it relates to what does it look like? You're saying you're going to protect my daughter. Yes, as he said, I don't want you to say that you're going to fight the dude or whatever. I mean, if it comes to that, obviously that's what's going to take place. But are you able to get her out of the situation is also a form of protection because you want to be able to make it home safe and sound. So there are some other additional questions that I would ask as it relates to protection. What's the game plan in 5 years? What's the game plan in the next year? Are you seeking the hand of my daughter, or are you just trying to find ways to have sex with her? You know what I'm saying? So I'm being pretty direct and asking questions because protection is not just about a physical thing. It also is a part of, can you emotionally protect her? Can you spiritually protect her? Or are you going to be an individual that is here for the long haul, or you just here stopping by? So it's very important for men to be involved in the process of choosing, in the sense of not saying this is the guy that you're going to have, but she should be running them by you. And then more times than not, she should be lining him up with you in mind, saying, okay, are you even close to being who my father is? If not, then he shouldn't even come talk to me. So that's what I would say.
All right. Shannon Rawls, what are your thoughts about it? I know you have no daughters, but if you can go ahead and speak on it, can you protect my daughter? If you did have, what would you say?
Yeah, can you fight? Shit, can't fuck. I mean, I'm with home with that with all the extra stuff, but can you fight? I'm the toxic masculinity guy of the panel, and I'm also the guy who I've said for over a year that I believe that women should be covered from birth to death, and a father should cover his daughter until he hands her over to another man that can continue where he left off. And if a man don't show up, dad still sticks around until she dies, or until he dies, whichever comes first. That's how I feel. Remember, I was the one that was like, run that nigga through me. So that's just how I feel. And, being out here in Los Angeles and being in the film industry, you guys, I see a lot of young girls. I witness a lot of young women come out here to LA who are left out in the wilderness, man. They're left out in the wilderness, and all they do is report back home as to what audition they going on, or what little role they got. They got a little small acting, extra role or whatnot. And maybe the parents send them a couple $100 every once in a while, drop it in their bank account. They just leave them out here to their own devices, man. And LA chews these girls up, and I watch them come, get chewed up, and go on back home. I asked hey man, what happened to such and such? That little girl that we hired in that last oh man, she didn't go on back she went back to Wisconsin. Oh damn, sent her on back home. And the reason why is one thing that I'm noticing these days, and I don't know if we're having a lot of conversations about it, but we should be. It's not so much about fathers. The big conversation is men need to be there. Men need to be present. Men need to be in the homes. But what kind of man is there? See, there's a lot of men that do raise their daughters, but they're straight hands off. They're there, but they're not there. They're kind of maybe mom is the boss, or maybe he's so weak as a man that he's not really, instituting anything, any structure in the family. And so he got this daughter who he was there every day of her life as a child, but not really a protector like that. And if that guy can't protect his daughter as a father, how is he going to vet some guy that she's bringing home or she's introducing to the dad? Oftentimes, fathers just like, oh, who are you dating now? Oh, is he you like him? Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. He's a good guy. Well, maybe we'll meet one day. Maybe I'll go out to dinner, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. Whatever happened to Timmy? Oh, really? Oh, wow. So who you with now? And that's how the conversation, and those conversations are very, that's happening a lot more often than you guys think. And so these guys are just chewing up these young girls, but dad was there. So to my man's, to the video that you played, I'm with him 100%. I'm with Humble Dad too, 100%. Protection all the way across the board, but I'm with the fighting shit. I'm with the shits. That's the kind of dude I am. So I need to know, and I know that we got cell phones and GPS, and we got cameras on every corner. Still, can you fight?
But if he says yes, he can fight. How do you know?
Listen, I can tell.
There's way.
Because I fight. A fighter can see a fighter. I know, so I can tell just by sizing him up. But you know, you gotta. I don't know if you're into martial arts, you know, taekwondo or any kind of specialty like that. But most fighters can tell other people how they move, and you can tell people that's just a straight street thug fighter. Niggas that square up on each other, get all up in each other's face, and damn near kissing each other. You can tell if somebody can physically protect themselves or the people around them or not.
I mean, to be honest, most guys don't have any training. So I mean, them saying they can fight is it's like rolling dice.
You got to be in the gym, and you also got to be in the boxing ring as well. Can't only just be in one.
All right, go ahead, Trigger. Mike, what are your thoughts about it? Can you protect my daughter? You heard.
So I can't disagree with everything Shan said. Just the fight part. Only because of the last part that we talked about. Most of these dudes can't fight. They talk just like the women do. And shout out to the bro from Prevectus Group. I forget his name now. I haven't advertised anything on my gun channel for so long. I forgot all the people I knew when I was from that part of life, right? So shout out to him, though. I think it's Ken. No, it may not be Ken, but yeah. So, you know, I've known dude for a while. And yeah, everything, you know, he's a firearms instructor sponsored by Smith & Wesson and all of that. So I was waiting for him to break it down. And he said the one thing I was waiting for him to say involving this situation, which is situational awareness. I would rather my daughter's husband or prospective husband have situational awareness over him being able to fight. All right, Shan, I want to put this against what you said. Mr. Miyagi said it, and you know what I'm about to say. The best defense is no be there. Nah. The best defense is no be there. Okay, so what he highlighted in that monologue was a man's tendency to deactivate his instinct. That's the modern man. It's not really his fault. Many of them were raised by mothers who spent 18 years doing exactly that, learning how to deactivate a man's instinct so he thinks more like a woman, he becomes more sensitive, and he doesn't react the way a man is supposed to these situations. The other end of it is he highlighted the tendency for women to choose the wrong partners. Every man is not eligible for a woman, period, if he cannot protect her, right? So I want to know from my daughter's prospective husband, what is your situational awareness? One. And the second part about that is when you need to protect your wife or your woman, don't even look at it like it's just her. It's your entire family. You need to protect them when you're not even there. You need to be ever present, putting down that philosophy in your home about how they should move. And the important part about that is his mental. Are you willing to be unapologetic about your masculinity? That's the type of man I am. I'm unapologetic about it. Here's why. Your wife does not need to understand how you provide her protection. Right now, we have a lot of women pushing back. I don't need that. You don't always need to do that for me. Are you willing to be unapologetic and do it anyway? That's the type of man that deserves a woman, because the way you lay that philosophy down in your house will determine how your children are raised, how she keeps them safe. Will she weigh every action she takes against your instructions? All right. So they don't need to know how we're protecting them. In fact, they don't know. They couldn't possibly, because they don't have these instincts we have. My mic is muted.
Go ahead, Luis. What are your thoughts about it? Can you protect my daughter?
Damn, that was a bomb shot by Trigger Mike right now. Jeez.
Well, Luis, let me throw this out before you go, Luis.
Go ahead.
Just want to throw this out there because I noticed Humble Day had a question for me, and Trigger might agree with everything except for the last part. Situational awareness and having the foresight and having being a fucking Jedi and using the Force to know when some shit's gonna go down at IHOP is good, right? But sometimes the Force isn't always with you, and that's what I'm speaking at. If your ass is at Denny's or on your neck of the wood fucking Waffle House and some shit go down and you are like, dog, we just wanted to get a number 2 special in some orange juices and some shit go down. I want, flee if you can to protect the family and all of that. But I need to know also, Mr. Miyagi, the main point of the movie, that was one scene, one line. The rest of the movie was teaching a motherfucker how to fight. The rest of the movie, all 2 hours of it. Thank you for mentioning that 5-minute scene. The other hour and 55 minutes was about whooping ass.
All right, Shan. No, let me push back. Let me push back on the pushback. So you're saying that the rest of the movie was about teaching him how to whoop ass in competition. He was teaching him metaphors for life. Now, I want you to understand that yes, he was teaching him how to fight properly. But when you teach, I was in Muay Thai pretty much all my life, from 6th grade on to graduation in high school. When you're teaching, the people who understand martial arts are the people who don't fight in public. Those are the people who don't fight in public. The issue that I'm having is that the average person does not know where their aggression is supposed to start and end. That's where I'm having the issue with it, because I think fighting is actually instinctual for a man. If you know that you have to protect and all you have is hands and feet, that's usually what we see when most people fight it. Now, the tendency for people to focus on the fight part, focused on balling up their fists, those are the mugs that end up popping off for no reason or creating an unsafe situation for their wife and or children. Like, I see dudes ball up their fists when it's just talk. Dude, these are words. Why did it have to escalate there? So I don't really trust the average person with their discernment. I don't trust them, because everything becomes a fight if you're focused on fighting. I'm focused on getting the hell out of there and avoiding the fight altogether, because I was about to say I'm capable of ending the whole fight, and I don't want to go to jail behind that, or even have to pay for a lawyer, right? So
don't air out the room. Don't clear out the room. Don't clear the club.
It could get there, but I
mean, to trigger Mike's point, I mean, I think that just comes down to de-escalation. You know what I'm saying? Like you've seen those situations where somebody walking by, you got your nice fresh kicks on, and they step on you by accident. Now you're like, holy shit, I'm livid, and now you want to pop off. But is it really worth it? You know, situational awareness tied with the ability to de-escalate and read the room of the situation. Is it really worth the going from 0 to 100, and what are the consequences are behind that door that you might not be able to see? And, one example that I could give, because I think a lot of the brothers, I agree with them, and they put out a really good blueprint, was I went on a date one time, and I parked at a station to go grab some money at the ATM. I pulled out, and somebody, tried to stage an accident. So he kind of went right behind my car, right? So as I pulled out, I kind of hit his fender bender. Homeboy made a whole big scene. One thing led to the other, right? And he pulled out a knife right at me. Like, I'm talking like some Rambo shit. And he was like, just make me an offer. And my date was in the car, and mind you, she can't see or hear what's going on, right? And I noticed her door opening up because she kind of saw me looking back and forth. And before she could kind of get out of the car, I just turned to the dude and I was like, I'll give you $100, because that's what he was wanted for. He was just strapped for some cash. So I just gave him the cash, right, to de-escalate, because at the end of the day, he doesn't know if that's my girlfriend, my wife, my fiance, or my sister. You know what I'm saying? So if she got out of the car and we got into it, now she's going to be like, oh, don't do that, and get in between. Now I'm risking the possibility of her getting stabbed along with me. So for the little bit of money, it wasn't even worth it. I made 10 times more than that in that entire week. So that's just one way to kind of de-escalate. Sometimes it isn't as worth it, but if he didn't have the knife, we would have probably scrapped.
All right, so I know everything I just said I need to cancel out because of what Luis just said. If dude pulls out a deadly weapon, I'm putting him down. Damn, bro. You only have very few situations where you're basically cleared to put somebody down, and that's deadly weapon. Fool pull out a knife, I'm pulling out. I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
yes, everything else other than that, what I said previously applies.
Yeah,
But
that was just the situation that I read at that moment. And plus, I didn't even have my gun on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out on a date. Like, there's no need to like carry. So you're just out to have a good time, right? And plus, you're drinking.
And I just want to make a public service announcement that this is why you carry everywhere. He thought he was getting some cheeks, so there was no need to have his strap on him. Come on, y'all. Come on, Luis.
All right, B man, what are your thoughts about it? Can you protect my daughter?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I need to realize, what kind of cat we're dealing with first and foremost. If my daughter's in love with you and talking about, potential marriage and whatnot, there's gotta be echoes of me that remind you, in him some way, somehow. Has to be, or else I didn't do my job correctly. I need to know, how cerebral this guy is. You know what I'm saying? How smart is he? Is he a thinker? Is he a leader? Are you out here playing chess? Or are you playing checkers? That's what I need to know. And then, Trigger over here talking about situational awareness. Shannon's talking about being able to fight. I mean, honestly, I thought the best fighters had situational awareness. So you avoid from that type of confrontation. When you are a real fighter or you've been trained, you specialize in the art of de-escalation, because usually using deadly force or using that type of martial art or boxing or mixed martial arts, what have you, the last thing you want to do is get into an altercation, because then you'll have to use your gifts at that point, or use a weapon. So I need to know what kind of nuts we're dealing with on this dude, honestly. And if, we're at that stage to where it looks like, they're going to go down that aisle. Technically he's going to be my son-in-law. So I got to make sure I treat him like a son and make sure that if there's a few things that are missing that I don't feel, 100% about, well, I mean, I don't know if any dad's ever really 100% about a dude, but if that's the case, I need to help him sharpen some of his tools if he's going to have my daughter. Straight up, because at the end of the day, they're going to make what decisions they want to make, but I got to make sure that he's prepared to continue to cover mine, because I've done what I needed to do, and I need you to carry that on regardless. But de-escalation, and you need to learn, you know how to whoop some ass, point blank, period. I've been trained growing up. My dad made sure that from myself, my brothers as well. And she's already going through some stuff right now for herself, so she can protect herself. But at the end of the day, she needs to be covered by a man. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody's spot on. I think the one thing that I can really add to it too is just make sure you create an environment where she will want to bring that guy to you. Sometimes a lot of daughters will meet a guy and you never even see it. You don't even know she's in a relationship. So you have to create an environment. You have to set a good example, as B. Madden said, because typically women do look to their father, but they pull things from who their father was or who their father is, and they look for that in a man if you are present in the house. And then she should be able to bring him to you so that you can vet him. But a lot of times you see nowadays it doesn't happen that way. So just be sure to create that environment where you're encouraging it.
You basically have that relationship, have that open communication, open dialogue, all that type of stuff. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like you definitely should be having some conversations with her before you even get to that point, and even starting early. I've even heard stories of fathers mentioning having these conversations early on, like at the age 7. So they already kind of curating of how it's going to be 8-9 years from that point. So I think starting early, I think a lot of people are scared to introduce certain talks to their kids at such an early age. But one of the points that I always say that floats around is, do you want to let them know, or do you want them to find out from other people, from the schools? So if you beat them to it, then you already can put it in there. So whenever they hear these talks or they see other people eavesdropping, they're not surprised or thrown off. So
It's already curated the way you want the message to already be.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
I mean, they learn mostly from how you treat their mom, though, right? So that's the unfortunate thing that we have in our community, is that most of the dads are not in. I won't say they're not involved, but they're not in the house in that regard. So they're not able to necessarily see how their dad would treat their mom. But then let's say that dad is outside of the house and he has partial custody. Then if that woman is not, I guess, tolerable and not doing what she needs to do as it relates to building that co-parenting, then he may treat her a certain way. But even still, if he treats her a way in which the kids can see, or the daughter can see, even though my mom is acting how she's acting, I see how my dad is able to have have composure and be able to say, de-escalate the situation. But I don't know what the stats are or how it is, but that's what I would suggest, that if you are not in the house, you definitely need to be having a conversation with your daughters about who they desire to, who they are going to be trying to date. But at the same time, how you treat other women and how you treat their mom is what they're looking at more than anything. I know my late wife, Jen, she would talk about how her dad had these different women in his life, and how he treated them. She paid attention to pretty regularly, and then the woman that she ended up, her dad's wife, that she was definitely different than what she thought that she would marry. She was a woman that was very manipulative, and then how her dad responded to her made her not even want to be in a marriage, just because of how that relationship was, right? But she's also looking at the characteristics. She looked at the characteristics of her father, in the sense of, no matter what her mom, this was not the stepmom, but how crazy her mom was, because her mom is very crazy, even still to this day, that no matter how Jen's mom was, her dad was always kind, mostly to her mom. And so as a result, she didn't look at men in a negative way, right? So what I'm saying is, men, if you have a situation where you're out of the house, you need to make sure that you're being respectful, or being respectful to women that your daughter will see, as well as their mother. And I think that would also help as well.
Yeah. Anybody else add anything else onto it? One of the things too, I think, lastly, is like your daughter being able to trust your judgment too, because you can be present and have these talks with her, but she may not trust your decision. So if you say no, he's not the one, and then she just disregarded. I think it's important for you to have that relationship where she trusts that if you say it's not right, then it's not right. And that also starts within the home with your decision making. So the daughters are paying attention how you move. So let's make sure you're moving correctly and be that good example. So that's all I got to add to it.
Yeah, I tell my 13-year-old, I have a 13-year-old and a 4-year-old, and my 13-year-old, she's very wise. And the one thing that I tell her just off the bat, it's like, we're not dealing with bombs, and what that looks like is, first of all, I give it a game, in the sense of, I tell her, like, every dude is trying to get to you. You know what I'm saying? Every dude is any dude that's coming to you wants to have sex with you. Like, even if they proclaim to be a Christian, at the end of the day, that's really what they want at some particular point in time. So you have to have that thought process in mind as he approaches you. And so when I presented it to her that way, she was like, "Oh, I never knew that." Right. And so, okay, I have to look at guys differently and she not necessarily ready for dating, but she obviously thinks that guys are cute, right? And so I wanted to have that conversation early and let her know that, listen, because of your gifting, and there's no way that we're going to tolerate any bums that come through the door. All right. So, and the other question that I asked her was that, what type of guy would she want to kind of date when she gets into that particular realm? Because I'm trying to be proactive. And she said she wants somebody like me. Right. So if you can get to the point of that, then you know that you're doing something at least halfway decent. And I think I'm a good dude, but I know I need to work on some things. But if my daughter is seeing some good qualities in me, then that means that she's probably going to look for the same type of qualities in the dude that kind of steps to her. And she's also open to me choosing the dude for her. So
I got a question, as it regards to the, self-defense, right? Because, it's premised on the man to be able to protect, another man's daughter, right? And sort of, why don't we talk about or advocate for self-defense classes for our youth more?
Like I think
we talk about like putting kids in like basketball, baseball, football, things like that.
You mean in general? I'm about to say, like, in this household, it's a requirement.
Definitely do that.
Yeah, like
definitely do that.
We push those, but like I never really hear or come across too many people talk about that they could have their kids in like taekwondo or boxing or any of the other sort of stuff.
It's interesting that you say that, because I literally can't count the amount of taekwondo, premier martial arts, Krav Maga, all these for youth in my area. In the suburbs, they build these things by the corner. And the one thing about the suburbs, because I was going to say it, I said, let me match it up to what's going on. In the suburbs, there are fathers here. There are intact families here. So the reason you don't see it is because there's an overrepresentation, especially in this community, of fathers not being in the home. Not even saying that they're absent from the child's life, but if the father doesn't have control over the children's activities, or we know that they won't be able to make those activities, mothers will more likely choose sports or something that has an activity bus, or things like that. The kids will just miss out. When the fathers are present, you think of what we like. We generally like martial arts, self-defense. We like watching MMA. We want our kids to have this type of makeup. If we had building blocks together and they all had life skills written down on them, what a father would build, life skills for his son and daughter, would look drastically different from the moms, right? So when you have fathers in the home, martial arts signups go up 1,000-fold, right? So that's my take on it.
And Lewis, you got to also take into consideration, if you're a conspiracy theorist like me, the feminization of men. It is against the agenda of those that want men to be as feminine and as soft as possible to teach you how to take down a man in 3 seconds. To be able to teach somebody taekwondo and to teach them karate and to teach them any kind of grappling or any kind of self-defense and martial arts is against the feminization of men, black men particularly. So the reason why you don't hear it like we heard it, we grew up on Bruce Lee.
Chuck Norris.
With Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee and
John Claude Van Damme.
When we thought about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we was thinking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar doing karate.
Exactly.
So that's what I grew up on. And so we had heavy bags and speed bags in our backyards. Boys wrestled, we slap boxed, we did all that kind. You don't do that. That stuff don't happen today. So why isn't that happening today? Even the movies we watched, Knight Rider and the A-Team. We grew up it was about men being men. They don't want that. So to answer your question directly, how come we don't talk about that is because they've taken that out of the conversation.
Yeah.
Let me just add this to Shan's point. Not only is there an agenda, it is so widespread that it has made its way to multiple movies and sitcoms. There is not a network that doesn't have a woman beating a grown man's ass. Like that can actually happen. Like I was so confused. Let me tell you the most unrealistic thing that I saw. And I wasn't comfortable saying that this was a feminist agenda until I saw it. Last November, a movie came out called Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And there was a bunch of bald-headed black women that got a bunch of special forces French soldiers to kneel on command. If you know anything about, first of all, white men and then special forces, they would rather die. They would literally take a cyanide pill before they let a bunch of bald-headed black women tell them to kneel. That was the most unrealistic. That's when I was just like, this has gone too far. The agenda has gone too far. But I yield the floor.
Well, I mean, but see, these movies are also very. I think that these movies and these narratives are dangerous as well because you have women out here actually trying to try men. You know what I'm saying? They're actually out here trying to try men. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like he misplaced something. It's like why you do that? And like getting up all up in his face and then trying to slap him and put his, hand in his face, not realizing that like this dude could lay you the fuck out and you not even realize it.
No,
Like,
let me.
That's the thing about media. That's the thing about media.
But seriously, I see a ton of videos of these like women like that, like just out and about, just disrespect the men or just slap them randomly, right? Unprovoked. And then the dude reacts and then they get surprised. It's like, I don't know what programming or movies you've been watching for so long that makes you think that a man isn't capable of putting his hands on you. Not that I will condone that, but at the same token, like you shouldn't even be attempting to do that. That's the problem. But they made it so comfortable in the movies, thinking that like it's just a walk in the park.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
a
Laura
lot of people are
Croft.
living in a lot of people are living in a delusion. They're living off of a Hollywood delusion, a manufactured delusion that's on social media, that's in music videos, that's in movies, that's in TV shows, and all of that. For those of you who don't know, I'm an actor and a model, so I get all of the roles that come in, for casting and all that kind of stuff, and for black males. I mean, it's literally all I'm literally getting is stuff about men being feminized. Men being with their domestic partner, and where they have it set up. They have two. If you're doing like a family shot, it's two different family shots. It's one family shot with a white male that is the head of the household. You have a black woman who is the wife or the mother. She's either black or she's what's the term they like to use? Shannon, I think you know what it is. It's when they have a mixed look.
Well, you got androgynous that we use in modeling, and then you talk about
and
when you can't
ambiguous. Racially ambiguous. Yeah, the wife is racially ambiguous, and then the kids are racially ambiguous.
Can't tell what they are.
Right. That's family A, and then family B has a black male, and then has another male who's his domestic partner. And then there might be some adopted kids or not. And they're always, that, or then it's something very, very feminized, where the woman is the lead and the man is following behind her. The woman is the boss. She's the CEO. He's the assistant. I see it time and time again because I get them all day. And it is a clear agenda when you see it in all these commercials, when you see it in these TV shows. It's there over and over and over again. And I don't call myself toxic, but I'm as masculine as they come as well. And I'm for, changing that narrative and getting back to where men used to be men.
I mean, you have to be very careful. So when I watch some of these shows, the thing that I do almost immediately is go to see who the writers are. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on, but naturally, there are women and rainbow men as the writers of most of these shows. Mm-hmm. It's not hetero men. That's what I'm noticing. Even just maybe 2 days ago, I was watching, I don't know if it was Netflix, I can't remember. The man said, this is a dude that goes to work every day that has a bunch of money. literally said a line. In fact, no, it was Creed. It was Creed 3.
Mhm.
No, it was something like that. The women run this house. I just live here. Nigga, what? I just paused it. I paused it. Who wrote that in? Let me go look at the writer. I don't think it was Creed. But
he was the executive producer.
what? No, the writers. I'm talking about the people in the writers.
I know, but he was executive. He
signed off on it. Even most Hollywood, like these Hollywood actors, I think simping is a part of their strategy.
Sylvester Stallone didn't want to have anything to do with it. He got
signed
off.
Excuse me.
Too, though.
Women run this house. I just live here. Nigga, shut up. Like I was just like, oh man, this stuff making
Everybody
my
should
head
have got up and walked out at that moment. Everybody should have just got and throw the
What?
popcorn as well.
No, that sounds like a line from the movie Baby Boy or something like that. That don't
Like
sound.
this is my house. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
It's like,
whatever happened to those lines? Like,
It said it was Creed. Yeah, it was Creed.
And
Wow.
just so
Well,
you
Creed,
know,
okay.
Trigger Mike, yeah, an agenda cannot go too far. That's the goal of an agenda.
Women run this house. I just live here. It hurts for me to know that like maybe a 10-year-old boy was taking that in. His mind is a sponge, and he's watching this dude that literally beats other grown men up for a living. Say some of the weakest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Well, Trigger, remember now, you know, all this stuff isn't for us. All these movies, these TV shows, these social media, these music videos, it's not for us. It's for the youth. They're brainwashing they're brainwashing that 10-year-old you're talking about. They're brainwashing that 15-year-old. They're brainwashing that 7-year-old. And so this is the way the world's supposed to be. They're trying to push. And they're the ones that are coming up. And then, you know, we don't know what their household looks like. And most of the time it's usually probably them and their mother, you know, so which doesn't help.
Yeah, but this is a reason even more why to the title, why you should be able to be in your daughter's life and know who she's dating. Because if we are grooming in preparing young men under this entire doctrine, right? It is no surprise that when shit hits the fan, homeboy is ducking and running for the hills by himself. He's not really doing anything. So obviously, you know, what could you really expect to come out of this generation? What is being perpetuated right now? You know, that more fathers have to be present at that point. They have to check the dude that their daughter is going out with because of this reason, because they understand that there is an agenda and they're trying to feminize men, you know? So
great fathers, though. Like Shan said that, though, right? It's a certain type of father. Like there are fathers or dads, or however you want to look at it, that are, I mean, as y'all know, I interview dads all the time. And one of the things that I found out in talking to dads is that it has to be an intentional about what the goals are when you're raising your kids. It's not you just being in the house. Because if you're just in the house, as Shannon alluded to, you're not being effective. If there's not a conversation about life, about goals, about aspirations, about sex, about the Bible, whatever the case may be, like if you're not having literal conversations about what they should be, how they can get over something, right? Today, me and my kids, we talked about being a pushover, you know, and what that is and what that looks like, and why you shouldn't be one, you know. For me, I try to model myself through the scripture. So we have conversations of what it would look like, you know, when you're encountering individuals. Like you can't trust everybody. You gotta see people for who they are, and if they show you who they are, then you got to believe them, right? So that's me being an active father and an active participant in the goal that I know is that they're gonna be somebody else's spouse, right? And so that's how I see it when I'm teaching. And if men are not doing that, then that's where you have the failure. And that's even for the men that don't have as much access to their kids as I do. Like you need to be doing what it is that you can. But if it's taking them to court, if it's you having to push pride aside to have an opportunity to be with your kids, then that's something that you need to do. Because as we're saying to you as dads, you got to be in the kid's life more than you think in order to have an actual influence in their life.
All right. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to King Talk. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do got a couple of super chats. Spencer Campbell with the $10 super chat. Salute to you, sir. And Jay, a story to tell with the $20. Just want to say thank you guys for your contributions to the platform. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic of the night, which is men develop children to leave. Go ahead and play this clip.
And women develop children to cleave, but men develop children to lead. I was always thinking about where they need to be at 25 and 35. You know, me and my daughter just went out to dinner Monday night talking about how to honor a man. You know, she's 15 years old because she just went through a rites of passage. So there's only adult conversation she has now with me. You know, that's my job as the patriarch of my family, is to train up everybody that's in my household.
All right, there we go. Men develop children to leave. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, B man. I see you nodding your head. What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, men are supposed to be leaders of their household, leaders of their family, leaders of their children. You know, it is a man's job to prepare your child for life. You know, as they get through school, prepare them to get to college, prepare them for what is outside of your household. And you have to put all the things inside of them that makes them a active and, you know, successful human out in this world. So you have to be prepared to get out of the house. Granted, we were just talking about daughters and whatnot, you know, for me, my daughter can always stay in my house until she's married. You know, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that because she's completely covered. But for the sons, especially, you're definitely preparing them for life. You're preparing them for, you know, forces that may be, you know, against them. You're preparing them for, you know, the law, police. You're preparing them for, you know, racism. You're preparing them for, dealing with workplace stuff, college stuff, and all that type of stuff. So you're preparing them to leave so they can be successful and fly away from the nest.
B Madden. So I know you said that you'll hold on to your daughter. Would you put your son out?
Oh, for sure. And here's the thing: it's not a kicking the butt out of the house. It's not that deal. It's you're preparing him for it. It's not a surprise. He understands what time it is. It's time for you to go out there and handle your business. It's time for you to go out there to go to college, get an education. You gotta go do that. Or, you know, if we've got other businesses going, other investments going, you working on that. But it's something that is designed. It's something that's been talked about. It's something that's been planned. It's not you 18, get the hell out of my house. It ain't that kind of deal.
Okay. Shannon Rawls, men develop children to leave. I did see you kind of was questioning whether you would kick your son out.
At first, when I heard B Mac, I was like, "Come on, B Mac, don't do me like that." Yeah, we got to stop kicking our kids out. That's what we, you know. You 18 now, boy. I don't go out there. You know, when I was out there, it was hard for me. I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Stop making your kids figure it out. But B Mac, he cleaned it. He was like, no. My sons are gonna learn how to fly. Is what I got from B Mac. What he said. I'm gonna teach them how to fly and use those wings. Now, when he crashes at the bottom of the tree, I'm gonna go down there and pick him up. I'm gonna drag his ass back up to the nest and then say, "Try again." Mm-hmm. That's okay. I'm with that. What historically and a lot of times, black men to their black sons, get out there and fly. Figure it out. Call me later. And if shit happens, if you get somebody pregnant, I'll send you $400 for an abortion. But that's it. And that's how we've been doing, and it hasn't worked out for us. We need to prepare our children for life, and that does not include kicking them out into the world and struggling like, you know, they need to, because they just need to figure it out like you and your grandfather did. You know, it was G. Michael Hoff that said, "Hard times create strong men create weak time." No, strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Right now, we're on the third phase of that. You know, good times create weak men. We have a lot of weak men because times are good. It ain't like we're going through the civil rights movement. Water hoses ain't getting blown. You know what I'm saying? We're not going through segregation. We're not in going through slavery. So right now, times are good for a lot of people, but it's creating a whole lot of weak men. And as a result of that, we're going to have a lot of weak times that's coming. That we can see it. We're looking down the road. And we see a whole lot of we see a whole lot of hard times coming because a lot of these men are weak. And the reason why some of these men are weak is, one, because the fathers aren't there, as what Humble Dad alluded to earlier. The fathers just aren't there, or the fathers that are there are weak fathers. So one of the strongest things you can do as a dad is, yes, develop your children to leave, but don't necessarily kick him out the nest. Make sure that he knows how to fly. Prepare them as a child. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be able to fly the way you know that they need to fly, even when they can't see it.
I agree with you, Shan, but kind of on the fence a little bit about what you said, only because I think if somebody's watching this, they got to understand that you have to start that way from the beginning. There may be somebody that may be watching right now that didn't do it from the beginning, so it becomes situational. You got to kind of assess it as you get closer to that date. If you have somebody that, because but you can start young and they can have a lazy mentality. You hope they wouldn't have it, but they can feel privileged, and when they graduate high school, they just have no ambition. They don't want to do anything. They don't have a plan, or they're like refusing to do anything. So then what? I think once it gets to that point, it becomes situational. And to me, there's always a place for you to come. But I'm almost along the lines of like, it gets to that time, you have a plan. We're about to figure out some form of a plan. And I'm going to get you to this space, maybe set you up for 3 months, but then you're going to have to learn, because somehow you missed it through all these years about what I've been teaching you, or maybe I started late, but you're going to have to try to figure something out, because you sitting here not having no job, not doing anything, that's not going to fly with me either. You're just sitting there and you're just not doing a damn thing. So I'm going to push you out. I'm not going to say you can't never come. I'm not going to tell them that, right? It's just going to be like, I'm going to monitor them, but I want them to be on their own so they can get some type of development away from me, because maybe the format that I had put in place didn't work. So we're going to try something else, but I just can't keep on there and not doing anything.
No, I got you. And you disagreed with me 8 months ago when we had this
conversation. Yeah, it was 8 months ago, but it definitely was. I think it was this year, Shan.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
got you. And JR is because you're in the thick of it right now. You got son. So I am speaking to people that have younger children. Grow up the young children so they won't depart. How about that? You know the scripture. Make sure that the kids at the youngest age you develop. Now, unfortunately, a lot of fathers fucked up early on, and now they're doing damage control. And they're saying, oh, I got this shiftless kid that don't want to do nothing. He's lazy. He's on Xbox all day long. He ain't really motivated to do nothing. I would look at the father and say, well, what was he doing when he was 5? Where were you at when he was 8? What did you put on him when he was 10? So now that he's 16 and he's lazy, you want me to say, well, you can't stay here now? No, I'm going to ask the dad, well, you now have to work twice as hard to make up for what you didn't do when he was 10 years old. Fathers, you have to now work twice as hard because you didn't work as hard as you should have 10 years ago. That's all I have to say to those guys that say, man, I get it. It's situational, but you got to look at the entire situation. And if you got that kind of situation, if you really care about a good outcome for your sons particularly, then you have to do what's necessary to make sure they work. And sometimes it's you doing it with them. So, if you say, man, you know what, you need to go out here and pick up a trade. Let's say I want you to go to a vocational school and learn how to plumb, but I'm going to take the class with you. You may not want to take the class with him, but if you didn't put the work in when he was younger to go do that kind of stuff, or to motivate him to do that on his own when he gets 18 or so, now you got to go to class too, and you got to get a certification. And now it's a father-son general contractor in the house where you never planned on doing that, but because you did it with your son is doing something that he wouldn't do on his own. So unfortunately for the fathers that's dealing with lazy sons, really lazy older sons, 16 to 21. Let's give it that 5 year. Is that 5 years? Let's give it that 5 year window. 16 to 21-year-old lazy sons. You got to go outside and mow the lawn with them. You got to go outside and do the things that you know that he needs to do. You got to go get the certification. You got to go to the college classes. You got to enroll in the same course with him to show him how it's done, because the motivation wasn't put in him, or the battery wasn't put in his back at a younger age to do it on his own. That's all I'm saying.
You're basically saying if you didn't work early, you got to work late.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's life. That's life.
And again, it's situational. You have to know your kids. You have to know their personality. You got to know what inspires them, what they love, what moves them, what gets them excited, you know, what motivates them. You got to know that shit. If you don't know that shit, then you're slacking. You're slacking significantly as a father. You need to know what your kid likes, what motivates them, what gets them excited, what gets them going, and what their interests are. I mean, point blank, period. And if you got, like Shannon said, you got to work with them side by side. That's one thing. But I mean, the other question is, what example were you showing them before?
Yep.
What example were you showing them for you to have to sit there and get a plumbing license next to him and that kind of stuff? What kind of hard work are you doing in your life that's already inspiring them? I mean, how it should be is that, you know, your son should look at you like you're some type of superhero growing up, that he want to be just like you. You know, it should be some level of that going on if you're doing it right.
Yeah. You know, if you grew up and you see the way a lot of guys is we just do shit. We just get up. If something needs to get done, we just go do it. And if your son is in the house playing PS5 and you outside fixing the leak, that's a problem. Hey, put that down. We got to go fix this leak. Well, I can't get under there, Dad. I know you're going to pass me the tools. So you'll learn the difference between a 9/16 and a 1/2 inch. You'll learn the difference between a 6-point socket and a 12-point socket. You're going to understand these things just by sitting there, because we are going to fix this leak, not me fixing the leak because I'm dad and then you over there just doing your thing on Instagram. That's what's important. And now you just got to do that. Real estate license. Yeah. You want to be you know what? You could do something, but you got to go. So you want to be a real estate, not a broker. What's the other one? A real estate
investor?
Agent?
Oh, okay.
Then I got to be a real estate agent with you. I got to go take the test with you. I got to learn how to do these things with you. I didn't want to do these things, but you got to work extra hard.
Because, you know, to that, I don't know if Louis is going to go, but to that as well, Shannon, these are things that don't just happen, in my estimation. What I've seen is that, and also being a teacher, like a kid that is lazy at 16 was not just became lazy at 16. You know what I'm saying? Like they were lazy in other years, and now it has come to a point where their laziness has caught up to them, and it's a matter of that they got to do something. But the parent needed to see it before now, right? But if it's already now, then I'm with Shannon. Like, you got to show them, and as well as BMAT, that you got to show them through what it is that you're doing. That to show them that, you know, you may have to take them somewhere to show them what it looks like to be lazy. You know, what will happen in the future as a result of your laziness. I remember, you know, some of the students in my classroom where they weren't doing exactly what they were supposed to do. And so I would have conversations with them about, you know, what you do today is going to affect your tomorrow. And I would talk to them about, okay, your 5-year plan, you know, or even your 3-year plan, you know, because middle schoolers and definitely high schoolers don't see 3 to 4 years from, they don't see what tomorrow look like, right? I mean, matter of fact, I just finished up being a managing director for a tutoring company, and I'm talking to high schoolers, and I'm trying to talk to them about, you know, what they're gonna do in college next year. Like they thinking about like what they're gonna do today. They just so ready to be out of school that they're like, I'd rather not do anything in class right now, and I'm gonna go home and do the work when there is no accountability. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Right. So it's a matter of giving them, as others have already alluded to, an example of what it's going to be if they don't do work now. I think the reality check should be a point in which it's happening in the house, as opposed to having them fail later. Because if we want our kids to be great, we got to show them what it looks like through our. If it's not through us, we got to show it how other people have done it as well.
You know, a good preventative measure is taking them into the city, take them under a bridge, and say, "This is your future. If you keep screwing."
God damn, not the brick. God dang, that's
This
a lot.
is your future right here. This is your future home right here. Go and get your
That's a
pillow.
lot.
Go ahead and
Man, kids are so lazy. They gonna see a tent and be like, "I could do this."
agree with that.
Hey, ain't no electricity out here. Ain't no PS5. Ain't none of that.
I mean, this look pretty cool. Why are we talking about the homeless dude? They don't look too bad. That's how lazy these kids are. But yeah, I'm tracking with y'all, man. I love this conversation. I do think we need to stop kicking kids out because let's just be real. The U.S. and our customs is totally screwed. All right. Let's look at around the world who has the best outcomes. These people don't kick their kids out. As a matter of fact, they stay in the same home, women and men, probably until marriage and maybe even a little bit after that. It's all about money. What can you do to empower your children? Give them the best financial start in life, point blank and period. Now, we have to understand that in the United States, especially, 18 is not grown. It's not. All 18-year-olds are not created equal. Our children in this country are children more than likely of comfort and leisure. They don't do nothing. No, they're not even required to do anything in most schools. They just go home. Right? Like in schools all around the world, they make sure you're doing some kind of work on behalf of the local government, on behalf of the agricultural committee, on something to make sure by the time you go home, you know the value of a good day's work. Right? You go to bed actually tired, not from playing video games, not from digging out your little girlfriend and all that, from work. Young.
Don't sleep on video games, bro. Don't.
All right, but
don't sleep on that because there's
I know there's
money to be made.
There's money to be made. 1% of people that can actually play that well. Come on now.
Oh no, they have other stuff, but I digress. Yeah. Go ahead.
So to Shan's point, not only do you have to do that stuff with your child, what I plan on doing, because let's be real, if you say, "Hey, I want you to stay in this house," in this country, we have more than enough distractions. Our children are going to want to leave. They can't wait to get out from under you because that's where you're most powerful. That's where you as a parent have the most influence over them. Because let me tell you, my 18-year-old son or daughter, if they're not going straight to the military, where I know how things work, I'm going to make sure they stay in my house. I don't even want them to stay on campus if they're going to school in the same area. All right. I want to monitor you. Parents, you have to monitor your children. They don't like being infantilized like that. But as we can see, they're not grown. And the world, especially our society, has too many distractions that will consume them. You can't leave it to chance. It will consume them. Too many distractions. Everything is marketed to them. On a college campus, they're marketing distractions to them, if we want to be honest. So you have to monitor their habits, monitor their spending, monitor their behavior, right? And you can always do that inside of your house. Now, let me explain why there's a benefit to this. And this is what you should do as a mother or father. There's a benefit to this because if you let your child go out of that house and get consumed by the world, it ultimately costs you as a parent. Your son or daughter will get pregnant. Now, I don't know why nobody talks about this, but my biggest fear is my son or daughter having a child young. Guess what my wife is going to want to do? She's going to want to help them all kind of ways. Now there's money leaving out of our house. My child is getting set back in whatever they were doing in life. They got to change focus and redirect. And now my wife, even though I'm about to be retired and we get to walk around butt naked, now we got to prematurely raise grandchildren, right? Nobody ever thinks about the impact to the parents that raise these children when their children screw up. I don't want my children to be screwed up. I want them to have the best chance. I want them to be dispersion, even if you didn't plan certain things. It happens within the span of time it was supposed to happen, right? To relieve yourself. It's one thing to get pregnant and, out of wedlock. It's another thing to have no chance of you marrying that guy or girl. And now you need money for a court battle. Dad, what are we gonna do? That is a byproduct of failed parenting. Failed parenting. So you can get it right the first time by being this intentional about getting it right. I'm going to plead with my children. Don't leave this house. Don't leave this house at all. I got you. What do you need? I will give you an incentive. You want to upgrade your car? Let's do it. I can pay for that while you focus. You are going to own a home by the time you leave here. You're going to be probably on track to get married by the time you leave here. All of that is possible under my leadership. But if you go out there, that world will consume you. What's your choices? That's the way I'm going to put it to my kids anyway.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. You know, one of the pieces of advice that I heard, I think a little while ago, is raise your children so you are able to spoil your grandchildren. And I thought that was so profound. And I sat back and I kind of re-listened to it again. And it kind of brings up some of the hallmarks of, you know, of young people, what they need, especially young boys today. They need discipline. Young boys need structure, and young boys need consistency. And that has to show up at every facet of their life. You know, community volunteering is a very important thing, because what we're exposing them is to how to talk to other people, how to network, how to move around, right? Knowing what it is to put a full day's worth of work, right? Being out there and being active, to trigger Mike's point. But also, too, talking about the financial and physical responsibilities of, you know, what do you do with your money that you've earned, you know, during your odd jobs during the summer? How do you save? How do you invest? Having those kinds of conversation. What's compound interest? What is, you know, what's an annulment? Real estate? These types of conversations have to happen, right? And then you use other examples, you know, as a vehicle to show them examples of what that looks like and how does that show up in their lives, right? And to kind of go back, you know, I kind of found what BMAX said. He's like, you know, just take them under a bridge and show them to a homeless. My father, you know, one time drove around and we were happen to be somewhere. And he told me, he's like, you see that guy over there? That's what happens to people who utilize and abuse drugs, alcohol, etc. That what happened to people who don't apply themselves. You know what I'm saying? And sort of these are the type of conversations that have to be constantly drilled in, because on your roadmap to success, or on your roadmap trying to guide your child out the household, there are going to be a lot of distractions, like Mike brought up. A lot of distractions brought up. But you have to always have those constant conversations like I've had and I've always listened to too. Young people need to know how to put on a clean shirt, need to know how to show up on time and be punctual, right? I mean, you'd be surprised how many times I've been in meetings and one of the younger intern or one of the younger people just shows up 5, 10, 15 minutes late, right? You should be early. You should be in the room before anybody starts. You should already be starting your day. I start my day every morning at 4:30 in the morning, getting ready to go to the gym, ready to go put in that work before I come home and start, you know, before I start, you know, doing this extra work, right? And
You don't have no kids, Mike.
Oh, it makes sense now.
That's the reason why I wake up a little bit refreshed.
I was like, damn.
That's airport. That's airport hours. Like,
Yeah.
I better be catching a flight or something.
I got to be there at 5, man. First one in and first one reporting out. But yeah, all those pillars right there. And I want to kind of go back to the not kicking children out. I got a lot of staying at home, living with my parents. You know what I'm saying? Even after 18, right? Because I went to a vocational high school. I not only got a high school diploma, but I also got a trade in construction and in carpentry. And I applied my trade. And I tell people I had a trade before I got a degree. And I applied my trade. And then my trade allowed me to open up another door and have my undergrad paid for practically for free. right? So then when I got a degree, I applied that degree to make advancement, all while I was still at home, saving money, you know, investing money, right? Helping out my parents, right? Because when you do that, there's a certain hierarchy structure. My parents owned a 3-family home, right? And guess where I lived? I lived on the 2nd floor. The 3rd floor was rented out. Parents lived downstairs, brother and sister lived downstairs. There was a way to go about it. And sort of by doing that, as opposed to your child, even if you're trying to give them responsibilities to pay certain bills, right? Why would you want them to go pay somebody else's mortgage and somebody else's rent when you own your own property? Or better yet, I own a couple properties myself. I'd rather put him in one of those properties that I own that he could stay and have an apartment in, right? But that right there is setting up your child for success. And I don't think that a lot of people kind of, realize that. And then also too, financially planning. A lot of people are having kids, but they're not financially planning for kids. I've had this stuff written down and in my notes constantly about what does that look like? What does that cost? Do you have a UTMA account? Do you have a uniform minors account, right? How are you saving for college, or how are you putting money aside? Do you have your children, as a brand ambassador as part of your business? You could write off $12,500 to them tax-free each year, right? A lot of people don't know this, and a lot of people are not applying these vehicles to save and invest and put their child in the best circumstance. So like that, you're not taking money out of your home to pay for college. You're not needing to break the bank and going deep into your pockets working overtime because you didn't properly financially started off on the right foot. So these are larger conversations that people need to have, along with all the other components that it comes to being a parent. And just listening to a lot of you brothers and getting a lot of insight and kind of looking back on my own childhood, that just only adds that extra layer of preparation. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate you sharing that, bro. That's dope.
So here's a question. Well, here's something that I want everybody to take into consideration based on what we just talked about. So the big question of was, son, what are you going to be when you grow up? Right? That all parents ask all their children, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Don't ask that question anymore, especially today, 2023 and beyond. Don't ask what do you want to be when you know what your children are good at. And there's so many different things that you can put your children in training at a young age, starting at 16, to be prepared for it. They'll be certified, qualified, and ready to go by the age 20. They can do this in tandem while in college. They can do this with you. As you guys was talking, I was just jotting down a few. One is real estate license. Let me just throw these out here. I want you guys to throw out some if you could think of some. Real estate license. That's something that you and your child can do together. You got an unmotivated son who's kind of doesn't want to do much. Don't say, hey, would you like to go get your real estate license? Say no. Hey, I just signed this up. Me and you together. I'm paying for it. Both of us going to have our real estate license by October. A commercial driving license, trucker's license. Don't ask them, would you like to drive trucks? Oh, you like to drive cars? Okay, good. You're going to get your Class C's. You getting them. You're going to learn how to drive. You're going to understand air brakes and be able to and to drive an 18-wheeler at the age of 18. A drone, commercial drone license. Easy test. Certified in a month. Now, this will require you as a parent to buy a drone, a really good drone, like the ones $1,000, a decent drone, $400. But it's not a video game, and it's not it's not an iPhone and Instagram. It's, hey man, you're gonna learn how to fly a drone, because essentially out here in Hollywood, helicopter pilots and the cameraman in the helicopter, that business is over with. Now everybody got aerial shots for their movies, but to do it right, you got to have a commercial drone license, unless you're the director themselves flying the drone. If you're going to hire somebody, you got to have a commercial license to fly. Anybody can get it. What does that cost? $75. This is no money, you guys. This is motivating your children. But you know what? We're both gonna, because I want to fly too. So I'm gonna buy us a drone, and then we're gonna go out and get our commercial drone license. How about being a certified photographer or videographer? You taking all them damn selfies with that iPhone 13. How about I get you a DSLR, and I want you to understand what aperture is and what shutter speed is and what ISO is. I want you to understand lenses, but I want you to understand it professionally. So in the event you have to become a wedding photographer, you can do it, or a videographer. You need to shoot music. How do I know that you might be the next big movie director, but you wouldn't know because I never put a camera in your hand. So go to the local Sammy's Camera in Hollywood. They got classes every week. They got a certified photographer, videographer class that lasts. It's a 45-day course, and I think it's like $150. But these are things that you and your children can do together. Don't ask them what you want to be. Nursing school, paralegal, plumber, HVAC tech, firefighting, EMT, air traffic control. It got a little harder as I went along, but these are things when you're saying, man, my child, I don't know what I want to do, Dad. Don't ask them that question. Say, this is, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. Just give me 1 year of your life. And I'm going to have you certified in so much stuff, and you're going to have so much experience. And that's one of the things that I did. See, I was in the military, and I've been at college. I've been all over the world. I was a combat medic. I was jumping out of helicopters. I've seen so many things. It guided me to what's best. And now these things are not linear. What I dealt with in Mogadishu and Somalia during Black Hawk Down has nothing to do with podcasting or electronics or fashion design or making movies, but it actually does. The way I learned to deal with people and to deal with contracts and negotiate and to hire people and to run a company, I learned a lot of that stuff with things that seemingly wasn't related. That's going to be the same way. You say, well, why would me and my son go get a drone flying license? Well, maybe you're teaching them how to be better motor skills with their hands, because after that, next thing you know, they are doing fucking nanotech work in AI and having robots walk around, all because he knew how to fly a drone. So there's a lot of things that us parents can do to get your children to get out there and, as it says, develop your children to leave. But you got to lead by example, and sometimes you got to do it with them.
I mean,
can you guys think of
add to that Series 6? I think it's 67. Financial advisor.
Experience, yes.
Financial advisor.
You can study together, right, Humble Dad? You can study that with your children.
Learning stocks and trade. You got roofing. Anything to do with a house. Is always going, like, houses are not going anywhere. Construction. Take you some
there's
class.
a huge demand there.
Yeah,
and
welding.
We also need to teach our children to be multifaceted. I think one of the things the Black community does is they look down on trades. So everybody pretends that they want their kids to go to college without teaching them that damn trade. That trade is that's what I call a bankable skill, right? I'm a certified firearms instructor. I'm a certified range safety officer. I have a federal firearms license. I can sell firearms, transfer firearms. My kids' piggy bank money that they buy, comes from firearm. Like, you see what I'm saying? From transferring firearms. People just come to my house and pick it up and fill out the paperwork. They pay me and I just toss it in the piggy bank. You see what I'm like? Literally, you could teach them all of this. I get paid for nothing, just for stuff showing up at my front door, right? So I find out that it's really bad on people, that they think less of these things that we do. So they want their children to do other things without transferring these skills. You look at every other ethnic group that's not really present there. When I see a Black dad that either drives trucks, or does anything, the guy that cuts our grass, for the first time, he's been doing it for 2 years. His son was on the truck. Son looked like he was about 11. Son was on the truck just moving the stuff down. It wasn't helping him do nothing, but just move the stuff down off the truck. That's a bankable skill.
Landscaping for sure.
Exactly. Teaching them how to trim hedges, and that they were just showing them, like, outlining it for them, talking in Spanish. So I'm like, look at this. This kid is going to make money right away. Painter. If you don't even have money, you get fired from your job, you can still make money. And I got a request. This is about to be messy. So I went on Cynthia G's one of her posts and said, "Hey Cynthia G, do you care to have a debate with me about your talking points?" And she responded 5 minutes ago and said, "Who are you?" So I need everybody to go to that post that she made saying, "This Pearly situation got y'all out here looking like clowns." Go to my comment and tell this woman who I am so she can debate me. I got a personal request of the everybody watching. Go to her page and go under that comment and tell her who I am because I want to have this debate. All right, but I appreciate that.
You know, one thing to also highlight, there's a lot of, you know, free certificates online that they're doing. It like UBX designers, you know what they start at? 90K. You could leave
What
high
did you?
school.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear what you said.
UBX designer.
UBX.
You know, coming out of high school, you know, it's about maybe a 6 to 8 week type of, you know, certificate. That is the base start, like medium, right? And that goes up to about 150,000. No college degree. So you think about the amount of money you're saving on just room and board, meals, and all that stuff in college versus getting a certificate. And you could get that. And then also you could also work on getting some other things, right? Because the thing about it is once you have that skill, you could work part-time, spare time, whatever. You control your own schedule. And that is really the goal, is to be able to do whatever you want to do, be located, because you don't have to be in an office. You can be remote. Now, since COVID, that has changed the game. People are remote, relocating to much more affordable areas and cities, right? And working remote and doing things and being able to save and be more frugal, right? One thing that was also brought, this country is in apparel. Like our infrastructure is falling apart and there's not enough. There's a 55% worker shortage in this country. 55%. Like you look at the numbers that come in for construction and they're high as hell because the demand is so high and there's not enough. I know plumbers who are making bank. These dudes are they're buying houses now in the Hamptons. How much bank they've been making because they've been working through this entire pandemic, and I've never seen people say, "Yeah, I got enough work for the next year and a half."
Forgot about I don't know if y'all heard of a Scrum Master. Scrum Master is like a project manager, especially if you're in IT. It's really kind of like putting things together, kind of being the liaison between the person that created the item, so to speak, and then the workers. It's called Scrum Master. A lot of people don't know about that, but I have my certification, and it's not that hard to get. Really, I mean, you have to pay, but it's not that hard to get. So, so you have that out there. And most of those jobs are pretty remote. Then y'all, I've totally forgot about this one. Being an appraiser. The reason why that would be dope for our community is because there is a situation where in our communities that the value of the house is down, and I witnessed, and I had that happen to me firsthand. And I live in a suburban area. My house was priced probably $20,000 less than like what the medium comp was in the area. I don't really like to proclaim things about race, but when I see the facts, then I have to just go with what the data is showing. So being an appraiser is a really good opportunity as well, because you get to set your own price, and especially now, like it's crazy. I mean, you have to. They appraisers are on back order basically, So there's another one.
I'm Humble Dad. So I just looked it up. I never heard of a Scrum Master. Scrum Master, 15 hours. 15 hours certified Scrum Master CSM course that anybody can take. Imagine you took it. It's about $257-$300 to take the course. If you did it with your children,
course, yeah, depending on who you use, yeah.
Right. Average Scrum Master salary in the United States is $99,492. That's those who take it serious. Now, Humble Dad is a Scrum Master. himself, but he's also a doctor. So, but if Humble Dad said, forget everything I'm doing, all my doctor degree, everything else that I'm got my teaching, I'm gonna concentrate on Scrum mastering because that's what I'm certified to do. He can look at on average $99,492 a year. And this is something that would take roughly 15 hours. So let's just give it 2 weeks to complete. And now this is what I'm telling you that your 18-year-old son can do if you tell him that you and him is going to do it together. Before you turn 19, you will be a certified Scrum Master. And whether you ever do anything with it or not is on you, son. But before you leave here, you will be a certified one. And just taking that knowledge and learning and studying and you guys at the dinner table going back and forth over the questions. And, when you wake up in the morning and you get ready to head to work, you ask him a question and that's coming up on the practice test. And he asks you a question that's on the practice test. And you guys finally get ready to take the test. I don't know how Scrum Masters are taking the test to get certified or whatever. You guys ace the test and now you get your certification. He may say, I'm never going to even touch this, but at least he's certified. That's the point that we're making here.
They're requesting that you spell it.
SCRUM, Scrum Master. It derives from a term like with rugby, where when they they get together, that's called a scrum. So you're coming together to bring up ideas and be able to pick the ones that are best suited to be productive for the team. So
all right, it's great talk, man. I think one of the things to take away too that we often forget is that once you put these kids out there, your responsibility becomes those kids. So you got to make sure you see it all the way through. And sometimes some kids may require a little bit longer. And Shan gonna make sure he keep them in the house. Shan, make sure you keep them in the house, man. It's good talk. We got one super chat that came through. Generation Love, $20 super sticker. Just want to say thank you for that. We know we started late, man. It was a short show tonight, but I want to make sure we got something out there for you guys. So we appreciate your patience. Our apologies on the late start. Good information, though. It's short. I think some people will play this back tomorrow at work. Or maybe on the road tonight, and then find some use in it. Any final thoughts anybody want to give before we head out? Going on.
I just hope everybody just took notes.
So you hope everybody took notes?
Yeah, that's the only thing. I hope people took notes, because I thought there was a lot of valuable gems dropped this evening, and hopefully people come back to re-listen to the podcast and the conversations because, I'm sure there's somebody out there that could apply a lot of the things that we put out.
There you go. It's a good
And
spiel.
I forgot about insurance agent. Life insurance.
Yeah, life insurance.
Ah, damn, I forgot to hit that.
For sure. That, you got quite a few things. Project manager, get your PMP, your, more blacks in tech, doing more coding, front end, back end, all that type of stuff. That's quick. I mean, that training doesn't take long at all. A couple months max, and you can make, after your first gig, you can make 6 figures easy. So that's something that's a real push right now because they always need more people doing that. You were talking about the Series 6, Series 7, all that type of stuff. Anything dealing with financial money, like you said, life insurance, all that kind of stuff is huge. And then people don't talk about trading stocks, trading Forex. That's a big thing too. Learning how to read the markets. I mean, that's a life skill that you need to know.
Yeah.
That people how to generate money by using money.
Yes,
and
imagine be Madden, and it was Humble Dad that even brought that up earlier about the trade. Imagine if you told your son, "Hey man, here's $100. Turn this into 2."
Right, flip that. You're right.
Listen, I want you to go invest penny stocks. Crypto, go learn how to day trade, sit in the computer. Maybe you got to buy them a monitor that's big enough. Maybe you got to buy the double monitor, that they can plug up and sit up and have all their charts up and say, go to YouTube and sit there don't watch music videos. Don't look at a Chris Brown music video. Go learn how to trade, and I'm gonna give you $250. I want you to turn it into $500 by next Saturday. That's the kind of parenting we're talking about.
And I forgot to say this I don't know why I forgot, but somebody said healthcare administration. I'm a healthcare administration master prepared. I would say, yeah, but go this route first. So for those men who don't like anything technology, you're not really moving toward that area, or you don't like the math involved, you don't like anything like that, look into nursing. And I'm serious about that. I want you to know exactly where they need men, and they will treat you like a king. If you don't mind working with women, which, you know, is cringeworthy, but they will put you in charge. When I say anything I've ever done, they put you in charge of the women. In fact, the women want you to be in charge because they can't stand being themselves being in charge of themselves. Okay, so that you want to go straight to the top of a field, and nursing isn't really nursing like bedside nursing. Men actually don't do much of that. You can do behavioral, and you can go straight into administration. Right? They need people who have the temperament for that. That is what nursing is always lacking, unfortunately, because it's so female dominated. They will get the administrative job and just get stressed out and leave. That's why those jobs are always vacant. That's why the men who take those jobs tend to stay ages longer, like, 200% longer than the women do. So if you're a man who just likes to work with people, let's say you were like me, who was a corpsman in the Navy, you're naturally inclined to do health stuff and you want to take that to the next level, look into nursing. It's not just for girls. In fact, it's strategically, when the way the job is done, there's so many ways you can do that job. You'd be amazed to find out. So I push that one.
And also, once you do that and you find yourself a nice piece of real estate and you can convert that, think about creating a not an elderly home, but like adult group home, right? And if you look into that and you do the research of what they're paying per room, and
no, it's not per room, it's per bed.
Per bed
in the room.
Per the bed in the room, right? So if you're able to get like 4 and you got like 25 rooms, I'm sure you could do the math real quick, right? So these are just opportunities to leverage.
And they're taking away, as far as like nursing is going to be the baseline standard. So I know the nurse practitioner physician battle going on right now. They're basically saying nurse practitioners can basically handle all primary care. Now, you don't need to be a whole doctor for that, right? So they're just going to keep regulating it to where you're going to see a whole bunch of new facets of healthcare being done, mobilized, where it's nurses doing that. It's like all new type of avenues. So it's going to be nurses in a car, nurses like serving whole neighborhoods, and they're going to be the ones able to bill insurance by themselves. You don't need to be a doctor. So you're going to want to be a part of that wave too.
That's right. I want to say one quick thing. Let's normalize keeping your kids in the household until they're able to buy their own properties, and all of them can buy their own properties, and then they can move out. Let's start normalizing that too.
That's a stretch goal.
No, that's okay. Hey, but Shan.
I'm in LA, so I got a different perspective on property.
Okay, that's understandable. That's understandable. The real estate market is very different.
Hey, but I'm
in Texas, so it's a lot more, more opportunity to do that. But what I'm saying is that that's what a lot of those other cultures were doing. That's what Trigger Mike was kind of alluding to earlier. Was especially like Indian cultures. Everyone lives in a household until they bought themselves their own $400,000, $500,000 house, and then they move out. Each one of them, each child has to do that before they can leave the household, because they're pooling the money together, they're keeping the money together, and everyone's able to benefit that way. And then when they're buying up all the properties that they can, they're able to live there, raise their kids there, have their families, build their families that way. And the other thing too is that when you have, if you got your kids doing all these different certifications and stuff, they'll be able to afford it. So they'll be able to flip that money, turn that 250 into 500, and flip that 500 into 500,000. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the whole point of all this too.
All right. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And lastly, make sure that you share this stream if you think somebody needs this information. It's a lot of gems that have been dropped, even when we thought we was cutting off, and some more gems were dropped. I did have a few comments to highlight. Big Pressure, he's a member. That's why I'm highlighting it. Shout out to you for being part of Green Gang. Big Pressure says, Kings, you all have helped me to become a better man, husband, and father. That's what it's all about, sir. So I appreciate you. Lamar Black Attack with the $5 foreign currency says, I am a nurse and Trigger Mike is right. Greatness to work. $5 also member says, Lapeef, that track on your intro is fire. Let's negotiate. It's nothing to negotiate because I do not own any of those tracks. They are all licensed music. So just reach out to whoever the original owners are. Maybe if you shoot me a DM, I can figure out what song it is that you like. Trigger Mike will be live tomorrow morning at 11:45. This is one of the topics we'll be discussing, which is Monique desiring to be with women. The show tomorrow will be Black Hair in the Workplace. Florida enacts permitless gun carry, and Monique has L thoughts. I kind of switched it up a little bit, but you know the terminology. So you make sure you guys tap in tomorrow morning at 11:45 a.m. That's when I start the show is. Also, make sure you guys support the men that's on the platform right now. Trigger Mike, you can catch him in the morning. Luis is an awesome designer, so make sure you check him out on Instagram. B Madden is just a superstar. He played up in the NFL. He's an actor. No, did you play NFL for real?
No, I played college ball.
Okay. You was going along right with it. So
I didn't make it. Nah, I tore my pec. I didn't make it. So
okay.
Yeah, I model all that stuff too.
Yeah, he's an actor, model,
voice actor, all that.
Straight out into entertainment. So you want to book him? If you got some sponsors, sponsorship opportunities, that's your guy right there. Shannon Ross, you catch him here on King Talk, also has a platform. So make sure you guys go to @Shannon Ross on IG or put Shannon Ross in on YouTube, and you'll find him. And Humble Dad, climbing the charts, doing some big things, putting out a lot of positive content. Content. This is too late, y'all. Putting out a lot of positive content. He go live on Monday, so make sure you guys check him out. Awesome panel discussions. Be sure to get Humble Dad a follow. And we'll catch y'all next time, man. We appreciate you guys for the patience. Again, apologies for the late start. Share the stream with somebody, and we'll catch y'all next time. Appreciate you, gentlemen.